G'day folks, Tony again here for more Star Control 2. Okie dokie folks, so there's a bunch of different things that we could do here at our starbase now that we've got it set up for our use. As we begin our fight against the evil Ur-Quan, let's firstly try and offload these minerals that we have on board. We have some resource units here that we're slowly selling off, so it's just basically dumping all of them. You can see them being added to the resource units there on the right, below the ship readout. The more minerals you bring us, Captain Clapton, the faster you'll be able to tackle the Ur-Quan. So now I have some more stuff there that I'll be able to use in other parts of the starbase for purchasing things. Let's have a dig for some additional background information. What do you need to know? Okay. Elaborating on the starbase's facility, he's talking about historical data, input on how to defeat the Ur-Quan, or I changed my mind. Let's find out what the starbase can do. Would you elaborate on the starbase's facilities? We can modify your Precursor starship, build additional combat vessels, and supply you with fuel and crew. Ooh, what can you do to enhance and modify the dank? Our engineers and Precursor specialists agree with the scientists from your world that your starship was designed to be a workhorse vehicle, which can be easily reconfigured for different missions by adding or swapping self-contained equipment packs, which we call modules. The modules we can build right now are thruster units, which make your ship move faster, attitude jets, which allow you to rotate your ship more quickly, crew pods, which provide life support facilities for up to 50 additional crew members, storage bays, which increase your ship's cargo capacity for mineral resources, fuel tanks, which hold an additional 50 units of fuel, dynamos, which feed energy into your combat energy batteries, improving your weapon's rate of fire, and last but not least, ion bolt guns, combat weaponry, the exact function of which depends on its location aboard ship. When put in the first or front module slot, it fires a single shot forward. When put in the second slot, it fires 2 shots spread to the left and right of center. When put in the third slot, it fires 2 shots directly left and right. And when put in the last or rear slot, it fires a single shot straight backwards. How about all that info, folks? But I'm curious to know, how will I get fuel for the dank? This base was designed to service hierarchy ships. Fortunately, your flagship uses the same stabilized antimatter technology as hierarchy vessels. Oh, that is fortunate. And we will be able to synthesize what you need. However, due to the size of your ship, we will have to produce vast quantities of fuel, which will be a substantial drain on our resources. Interesting. Hey, Starbase Commander, how can I assemble a fleet of fighting ships? Our shipyard facilities are sophisticated and fully automated, permitting a handful of Starbase personnel to do the same job as 500 vac-suited construction workers. However, the only designs we had in our computers were incomplete hierarchy ship designs. Things looked grim until one of my officers came forward with an amazing story. Even though the Ur-Quan destroyed everything, every Earthling cruiser in the fleet nearly 20 years ago, one of my maintenance engineers was a Starship production assistant at the Detroit shipyards. When Earth was conquered, she was ordered to destroy all ship construction databases. But she secretly made copies of the blueprint discs and has kept them with her ever since. These discs contain all the data we need to build as many Earthling cruisers as you want, provided you, Captain, can supply the large amounts of mineral resources required to build the vessels. In theory, Captain, we could build alien starships here if we had designs for them. However, it is a well-known fact that alien vessels just can't be flown in combat without native starship captains at the helm. Interesting. So you can see the gist of where this is going, folks. We're going to have to fly around the universe. We're going to have to find resources. We're going to have to bring them back to get those resources to upgrade our flagship, to build other vessels. And clearly we're going to have to try and build an alliance of other alien races and get plans for their vessels so we can build and crew them with a wide variety of alien species. Hey Starbase Commander, how will we acquire additional personnel for my ship? We have almost 2,000 highly motivated, skilled professionals on board this starbase. And every single one of them wants a berth aboard the Dank. However, each hand we lose to your ship means less manpower here at the starbase. And this is reflected in the crew resource unit cost. As long as you don't lose too many crew members to combat or planet exploration, the resource unit cost will remain static, but we have only so many warm bodies on this starbase. And if your needs for crew grow beyond a certain point, the cost could increase dramatically. Would you please explain your resource allocation system? As you know, Captain, we have committed the entire output of this station to building your flagship and your battle fleet into the strongest force possible. However, our resources are very limited, and we feel you must decide how we are to spend our effort and materials. To aid you in making these decisions, we have implemented a resource allocation scheme. We provide you with a numerical assessment of the station's resources and ascribe a cost to each task we can perform and each device we can build. It's up to you to decide how you are going to spend your resource units, or RU as we call them. To acquire more RU, you must bring resources back to the starbase. These resources can be either in the form of mineral ores gathered from planet surfaces, or already refined metals and other valuable materials from the wreckage of enemy starships. Interesting. Hey, what kind of resources are most useful to our mission in this endless tirade of tutorial? The most straightforward way to accumulate resource units is to bring back mineral ores to this starbase. There are probably enough resources in just the nearby dozen stars to build your ship into a powerful battleship, or to create a strong task force of combat vessels. I would also recommend that you build several additional storage bays. When gathering minerals, focus on cleaning out one star system at a time. This way, you minimize the cost of travel through hyperspace and maximize how much you're removing resources from a system. What use are our planet's landers' lifeform analysis features? What a strangely specific question. While I respect the search for abstract knowledge, frankly, Captain, in our present circumstances, I see little use for such data here. Perhaps you can make use of biological information elsewhere. Interesting. You have answered my questions on this topic. Good times. What else can I tell you? Probably everything the way this is going. So we could go for some historical data, or we could ask for input on how we defeat the Ur-Quan. Realizing that time is of the essence, let's dip our toe in this pond just a tad. What aspect of history, Captain? Let's see. Let's try other starfaring races, because we're about to go and have to find some of them. Let's go for members of the Old Alliance. That seems like a logical place to start trying to find allies. The Shafixti, the Yihat, the Aralu, the Chenjisu, the Murmherm, the Cyrene. How about we go with the one at the top? Tell me about the Shafixti. The Shafixti are a race of intelligent marsupials who had been civilized only a few decades when the war began. They were discovered in the Delta Gorno star system by the Yihut, who adopted and then uplifted the Shifixti, giving them advanced technology and cultural definition. Shifixti are noble and fearless warriors, Captain. In addition, their incredible fecundity and rapid maturation rate kept Alliance ranks solid even at the worst parts of the war. You know, I once flew as an observer aboard one of their ships. On routine patrol, we never even saw the enemy. But I could never stop thinking about the glory device it had strapped to the bottom of its hull. So yes, the Shifixti, one of their abilities is to blow themselves up and do a lot of damage. Okay, I don't want to just sit here reading to you for the entire episode. So let's back our way out of this, and we'll try and get just a little bit of advice as to how we might go about, you know, winning the game. I would like your input on how we can defeat the Ur-Quan. Can you be more specific? That depends on the options you give me. Mineral resources, how do we talk to aliens? If we swapped shoes, what would you do? How can we deal with the Ur-Quan? Let's start at the top again. Where can I find the most useful, plentiful mineral resources? If you have the patience, I would recommend you spend several months or even a year gathering mineral resources. You can find such minerals on almost any planet surface, but the quality and density will vary depending on the type of planet you're on. Base metals are probably the most common minerals you find, but they aren't particularly valuable. You can find rarer, precious and radioactive elements on metal-rich worlds such as Mercury. You have been there already. An old miner once told me you could tell the relative quality of a planet's minerals based on the planet's color as seen from space. To remember the color sequence from good to bad, the miner had a mnemonic that went something like, very young orangutans could grow bananas, perhaps rather well. It is also the case that mineral yields will be better at hotter stars. Temperature is related to the size and color of a star. Red stars are coolest, then orange, yellow, green, blue, and the hottest stars are white. Interesting. Let's get cracking, shall we? That's all for right now, thank you. I do not require additional information. I need a way to just exit the conversation real quick, but apparently I have to go up through each layer, one at a time. Okay, so here we are at the starbase screen. We could go back and talk to the starbase commander, but I think we've done plenty of that already. We also have outfit starship, shipyard, and depart the starbase. So let's go to outfitting our starship. Here is the flagship Dank. So we can add some fuel, we can add some modules. At the moment, we might try and add ourselves a module. And I would like to get some more storage. So let's grab that there. It's going to ask us where we're going to put it. I'm going to plonk it here in the middle, along with some of the others. And let's buy one more for good measure. There we go. Crew pods are expensive. We can't afford them right now. Turning jets would be nice. Another planet lander would also be nice. I'm not sure how many of those we have. Oh no, there it is. There's only one of them so far. I think to be safe, in case we lose it, we're going to buy another one. And I think that will probably do us. So we're going to back out of that. We could try adding some more fuel. So let's do that. It's going to cost us 20 per thing. We'll bump that all the way up to, let's go 15. And we're going to go back out of here. We'll go to the shipyard. We currently have one Earthling cruiser. We can add some more crew to our ship here. So we're going to do that. You can see it filling up there. We'll get ourselves a full complement of crew again. Currently that's only costing us 3 resource units for each one. And I think while we're here, we'll see how much the Earthling cruiser costs. That's going to be almost all of our remaining units resource units, so I'm not too keen to do that. So let's back out of here. I'm going to save the game because it would be a bad idea to have to go through all that again. Already did that on the last episode. So there's the game saved. Let's go have a fly around the Sol system and see what else we can find. We've already been to Mercury, but there are plenty of other planets that we can look at. And I guess the easiest way to go about it, seeing as we've started at Mercury, is we can go to Venus next and we'll see what's there. So this will be the usual routine of entering orbit, and then running a scan. Going to check for minerals, some things, check for energy, no things, and check for biological, which I'm assuming also no things. Let's have a look at that weather and tectonics, though. You can see that the weather is class 8, which is extremely weather, and the tectonics is class 2. So I actually think if we land on there, there's going to be a lot of weather events around, and it's probably going to result in us losing a lot of crew. So I think there's probably easier pickings than that. So having done a scan of Venus but not committing to it, we're going to fly the Dank over this way. I believe this was the direction that Mars was in. Pretty close to it, so we'll scoot past the sun. We'll head here to Mars. I'm not overly hopeful that there's going to be a ton of stuff here, but it's best to be methodical and try and find things that we can harvest fairly easily. So class 2 weather, class 2 tectonics, that does seem a little more reasonable. There's a smattering of things around here. No energy, no biological. So let's dispatch here and we'll see how we go. Zoom. Possibly fairly straightforward. So that class 2, not looking to be as nasty as things were on Mercury, and certainly not the complete madness of trying to collect things from class 8 weather system on Venus. So that's all the things collected. We're going to zoom back. We got a little bit of stuff out of that, so that was nice. Let's continue exploring. And next out, if I'm not mistaken, will be Jupiter, unless something has happened in the fictional 140 odd years between now and then. I can't actually see Jupiter in this zoom level. Oh, it's either going to be really close or really not. It was really close. That's great. So let's go and check Jupiter itself first. Class 8 weather, class 0 tectonics. No energy, no biological, no mineral. I'm not sure that's entirely accurate, but I do get the point. Let's fly away from there. We'll work our way out slowly, if I could actually hit the targets. Steering on this in these early stages can be quite problematic because the thrust is high and the class 4 tectonics. The thrust is high and the turn rate is quite woeful. All right, this may be worth giving things a try. Quite hard to see those red pips against the red background. That's possibly part of the challenge. So down we go. And we'll see how severe these earthquakes are. I can sort of hear them booming on and off a little bit. They're going to be little concussive rings on the ground, so a little different from the things that we saw on Mercury, where there were fire trails that could sort of follow us. This time around, we're going to get a little bit of warning when we see those concussion rings building. But I'm confident that we should be able to hoover up a fair amount of stuff here without too much drama. Part of the challenge going around and collecting things on these planets sometimes can be the trade-off between taking off to hop to the other side of a planet, potentially avoiding damage and saving a little bit of time, but also, of course, there's going to be that additional fuel cost from the flagship. All right, so we got some things there. That's good. Let's have a quick look at our manifest just to see what we've got. We have 128 radioactives. That's nice, and they're worth 8 each. So that's quite a nice haul. We're not going to throw any of them away. No, thank you. Let's go back to our navigation and out just a little further. Good grief. I sure hope nobody from the starbase is watching my rather woeful performance at moving around. Class 2 tectonics, that seems quite nifty, and it looks like some more radioactives here, so this might be rather lovely. We're hopefully going to end up with a good batch of stuff here. So this process of moving around between different planets, scanning them, hoping to find something cool, figuring out the trade-off between hazard levels and how much space you have left on your ship, and whether you're going to dump a whole bunch of common elements so that you can try and pick up fancier ones. Trying to do all of this without running out of fuel on your flagship and being able to return all the way back to the Sol system and the starbase through hyperspace. This is all part of the early stages of this game. When I ended up playing the first Mass Effect game, which is quite clearly derived from much of the same creative DNA as this game, I did spend an awfully long time in the first game driving around planets, harvesting minerals, even though the entire galaxy was a threat. And a big part of that was because I recalled how much I enjoyed that process from playing this game. That was a cool story, Tony. You're welcome. All right. So some larger pips here. Clearly the size of the pips representing how much of a resource there is there, and presumably then how much space is going to take up in the cargo module. If you do have a look over on the right under the ship, you can see below the crew that there are 3 grey bars, one of which is almost full. That's indicating the 3 cargo modules that we have and how much stuff is in them currently. So one more to go, and if I recall at least the start of the mnemonic that we were told about colours, I'm assuming that this one here is going to have a lot of fancy stuff. I'm actually not sure how it's detecting when we're colliding with these things. I'm wondering if it might actually be the tip of the ship. And I'm also wondering if when they're really close together, you can't actually have one of them activate if you're still looking at another one. Okay, maybe violet was the worst one. That seems to be the case from looking at that. All right. So Jupiter and its moons are taken care of. The quickest way off the screen to the side here so that we can get to another zoom out level. We're going to head to Saturn next, which doesn't have any rings around it here in the graphic. But again, a lot can happen in 150 years. Oopsie daisy. Oh, this is so hard to control with a terrible turn rate. All right. Hey, Saturn. How's it going? I'm going to assume that you have quite a strong weather system as well. It's not going to be favourable. Yes, Class 8 indeed. 8 perhaps would appear to be the strongest. Maybe it can go higher than that. I don't actually recall. So no luck for us here at Saturn. But perhaps whichever of these moons has been selected, I'm assuming it will be Titan. Doesn't appear to actually be telling us. Oh, now it does. Okay, Titan. Class 3 weather, Class 2 tectonics. A little smattering of stuff. It's probably fairly elementary. Haha. Stuff, but we'll go and grab it anyway. Zoom. Nice. I'm hoping this will all fit into one. Ow, lightning. That hurts. Stop it. So that's the aforementioned weather effects. You can imagine what severity 8 weather would be like. Ow. Quit it. There's not as much way to avoid that one as there is with the others. With the fire and the tectonics, at least you have a chance of trying to dodge them. But lightning seems to be a little more predetermined. Okay, well, we only lost 3 people. That's not too bad, right? 3 human souls lost for all time so that we can pick up some more, whatever those things were. All right. We're getting closer and closer to completing our run here. I wonder if we should have just gone to that one, seeing as it's right there. But I do like being sequential. Oh, it's all the way on the far side. And flying back through the middle here is going to make us zoom some more. It looks like my methodical nature is making this take longer than necessary, but I'm going to chalk it up to let's learn how to steer this ship a little better. That turning rate is terrible. I would really like to fix that. That might be a priority for upgrading, I think. Yeah, we did it. We're at that planet that you can't make a joke about its name. And now we're going to scan that planet. I do really like the attention to detail here because this is the one planet in the solar system that actually has its poles sort of knocked around off of the plane of the ecliptic, which you can see there in how it's rotating in the viewport. Nice attention to detail for a very specific and distinctive feature of that planet with the name. So next one out will be Neptune, which is all the way over here. So let's make our way there now, perhaps a little ponderously. The early stages of this game do tend to be a little slowly. And then when everything happens, it does tend to all happen at once. So let's go to Neptune itself first. You're probably starting to pick up the pattern here that gas giants tend to be fairly hostile, Class 8 weather, and don't really have anything on them. So a general rule might be to not waste time in scanning those, but I remain convinced that if I don't scan everything, I'm going to miss something important. And I would assume that this is going to be Triton. It is indeed Class 2 weather, Class 1 tectonics. Show me some things. Just a few odds and sundries. Again, seeing as we've made it all the way here, we may as well go down and pick them up. And quite pleased that so far we have not lost enough crew that we're actually losing some of these lander craft as well. So there are 12 crew on each of these deployments. You can see those green pips over on the bottom left-hand corner. If you lose all of the crew, then the actual lander itself explodes, and you don't have it anymore. All right. So now that we've done Neptune and its moon of Triton, there is, of course, only one major body in the solar system. I guess when this game was made, Pluto was still referred to as a planet. So let's roll with that. There's one planet left to go, and it's Pluto, all the way out here. And this should very nicely wrap up our solar exploration, at least of the Sol system. So we'll do a quick scan. Class 1 tectonics. There's one mineral source of a very odd type right there. There's also a very odd energy source, which you'll recall we also found on the moon. And for biologicals, there's nothing. This looks to me like there may be something lying in wait for us to discover and discover it we will in the next part of the Let's Play. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for bearing with me through these early stages of the game. It is quite text and lore heavy, and some fairly elementary mechanics and goals for us here as we're going to fly around and hoover up a bunch of resources. But at some point, we're also going to start talking to some groovy aliens, he says prophetically, nudge, nudge, hint, hint. So yes, if you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe to the channel if you'd like to be notified when other episodes are released, and please tell a friend if you think they might enjoy this, and come back again soon for more Star Control 2.